Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. If your property gets damaged by a storm, it's nice to know there's a Kentucky Farm Bureau insurance agent in your hometown who's committed to making things right. Rain or shine, you can count on the great coverage and personal service you expect from Kentucky's insurance company. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going good. It's a great month.
It is a good month.
It's a great month. We've talked a little bit. We talked to our great guest today about all of our favorites, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever had like fake meat, like a Impossible Burger or a tofu or anything like that? What's your thoughts on this?
I would like to think that if I have good friends in my life, they would never treat me in a way where they would hand me a piece of tofu and try to trick me into eating such garbage. No, I absolutely have never eaten an Impossible Burger. I think people have told me you need to do that. Like, you need to do the side by side. I think it's disgusting. I think it's just a freaking chemical patty, and I have no need to do that. If I want to do that, I go eat a Tide Pod like the kids did a few years back, but I refuse. So, is that irrational? Possibly.
My son calls this rage baiting, I think is what this is called.
Is that what the kids say?
That's what the kids say. And I think I just did it. So
I have really strong opinions. I have strong opinions about fake milk as well. If you do not have a dietary reason, leave me alone. Like, if you're like, I'm lactose intolerant, cool, do your thing. But don't look at me when they're like, what type of milk would you like in your Starbucks? And I say, like, regular cow's milk. The one that came from a cow. And you're like, don't you make that noise at me. Then you go milk an almond and you tell me how that goes for you. Like, I'm not going to make fun of you if you have an allergy. Gluten, same thing. Didn't even know gluten was a thing till people started having tell me problems. I respect you if you can't have gluten. Leave me my bread.
I want the bread.
If I want bunny bread, I'm going to eat my bunny bread.
But it's your bread.
And if I want a freaking quarter-pound beef patty, don't you dare say you're going to make it in a lab. I can't have it. I think Austin quit on me.
I think we got a full rant here.
Austin was watching and then he was like, it's not going to end anytime soon.
I am. Are you listening to this? This is a great rant.
Have you eaten fake meat before?
I have unintentionally ate an Impossible Burger.
Who did that to you?
I did it to myself.
You accidentally said, I'd like an Impossible Burger. And they said, okay.
It was a number at Burger King. Okay, it was just a number.
That should be on the rule sheet.
Does that make sense?
If someone says Impossible Burger's meal number, they should say, are you aware you're about to eat this?
I said, I just saw Whopper, and I got an Impossible Whopper. And then I started eating it, and it's...
Say it sucked. Tell me it sucked.
It wasn't the same.
Oh, you
it
can't
sucked.
say
No, it totally. It was no good.
Like, if you said, couldn't even tell, I'm going to freaking lose it again.
I guess if I went into it knowing that I'm not really eating the real thing, I would be like, this is fine, I guess, for that. I don't know how. It's like when people eat a turkey burger and they're like, this doesn't taste like me. I was like, no, it's turkey, dummy. Like beef. It doesn't taste like. It's sort of like that, but yeah, I ate it and I go, something's this thing. What do I get here, And I thought it was like maybe the lettuce was funky, or something. It could be a lot of things. And I looked at my receipt, and it said I didn't even know they were doing that at Burger King. I thought Burger King was like never.
He would never.
Yeah,
but the King did.
I was like, what the heck is that? That's and it was impossibly not the same thing.
I also I have irrational things about food in general. Like, I don't like turkey bacon. Why? I don't know. I haven't tried it in a while. I've had a piece. But pork has a meal and it's breakfast. Leave us alone.
Stop
making freaking breaded honey chicken biscuit. Leave us. You got the egg. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
You can have nugs anytime your heart desires. You can have a grilled chicken. Everybody thinks you're the healthy meat anyway. Leave us alone. Pork wants breakfast. Bacon, sausage. Quit trying to make your stuff into our stuff. What do I celebrate with? Do I celebrate with a chicken breast? No, I celebrate with a steak.
Right.
So leave me alone. If I'm at a celebratory dinner, don't be like, would you like a chicken option? No. I want a freaking New York strip because I'm celebrating.
I've got her really going today. This is great. This is a great rant.
You know what's funny? I wish I would have had our guest for this part because he would have been like, say it again.
Say it again. Yeah, we have a great guest today.
And he would not feed tofu.
There's no chance.
No, he would not give me tofu. He's a good friend.
He is probably mad that I even brought this up.
Probably.
In his podcast. But yeah, it was just something that I had a feeling that I'd get some feels bringing up this topic.
Got me in my feels.
Yeah.
The good
Mine was
thing is-
unintentional. Audience, everyone listening, I did not do that on purpose.
Yeah.
I picked number 4 or what, I just said number 4, please. I don't want the number 4 meal.
Jeez.
Yeah, I blew it. But yeah, but good guest, guy that's really doing a lot of really good work for the Cattlemen and the Beef Council. So
His title is very misleading in the sense that it just seems very small. Like, he educates, directs educational efforts, and then you find out what he's doing, and you're like,
wow.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're educating all of them.
Yeah. So I think the folks who love this, the rest is all meat.
All beef.
Give them this is the meat of the podcast is about to start. But yeah, great guest today.
All right, we'll get you to Bradon. Without further ado, I'm Renee Carrico.
And I'm Matt Hilton.
Let's get rural. So I don't want to alarm you, but we might be out microphone today. He announces like hog shows, sheep shows. Give him a show.
Okay.
Man can announce.
We can do it. I want to hear some announcer voice.
Well, he's not an auctioneer. Do you think he was going to auction?
No.
something
Like,
off?
do you like to put it on? Have to put it on a little bit?
No. Just depends.
It just comes out.
It just
of you.
happens.
It just happens.
Yeah.
I
I
get you.
can auctioneer. I just haven't gone to school yet.
Oh, really? I didn't know this.
Yeah. I think
One day.
He my favorite part is it's more fun when he knows the kids because he will just be in a completely serious voice, like going through the lineup, like in 10th place, we've got this person from this place. 9th place, we've got this person. 8th place, Danny Boy Laurent from Princeton. And then he just keeps going. And like, you'll see people that
random
grab
9th place gets a big
like
extra.
State Fair, it's just a fair goer. And they're like,
What?
that guy's name is Danny Boy?
Yeah. We started announcing the Tamworths, and I go, yeah, it's Tam time.
It's a pretty good time.
Yeah. There's all the many talents of our guests when they come here.
Honestly, we're bringing that to light for everyone else.
The top of the top come here on our podcast for sure.
I see you going back to the hilltop or somewhere. Saying he's top.
He's a top,
I think we made it 25 seconds into this podcast, and you're like, so have you heard he's a top?
Go Tops. Always. It's the best of the best, y'all.
Spirit makes the master,
Spirit
Renee.
makes the master.
Oh, my God. It's nauseating. So let's talk about beef.
Let's talk about beef.
About that cattle industry right now.
Beef's kind of red, like Big Red,
Oh, my God.
right?
Yeah, I like that too.
It's going to go on the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's with us today?
Hey, good to be here.
It's Bradon Burks. It is May, and it is beef month, and it took us a couple weeks to, get everyone here. I don't want you to think it took us a couple weeks to remember it's beef month. We celebrate beef month all year round. We make that very clear. Dairy month and beef month.
I celebrated it last night and maybe the night before.
What
What
was
a
your
guy.
beef cut last night?
What did we have last night?
Were you at a baseball game? Was it just a burger?
We had a burger. No, yes, I had a burger.
Yeah.
I had a burger, and then we had steak the night before.
Ooh.
What's your steak cut of choice?
It's not usually what I want.
Okay.
I've got kids.
Budget is not a concern.
Oh, I'll get a filet for sure.
Filet guy.
Yeah.
Really?
Filet guy. Yeah. I'm very lean. Look at me.
Tender, loving care.
Why'd you laugh when I said I'm very lean?
My pick is a New York strip.
Yeah.
But at restaurants, it's too many ounces. Like,
Right.
because when you go to a nice fancy dinner that has a really nice fancy New York strip, it's huge. And then that's the group that's like, what about an appetizer? How about 3 sides and a salad? And I'm like, well, now I feel wasteful.
Yeah.
So I very regularly order a filet if I'm at those kind of dinners because I can actually finish my meal.
That's kind of the.
But
that's
I'm a
kind
New
of the
York strip
thinking.
girl.
Well, that's part of the thing, too, with getting cattle so big. They're taking those New York strips and cutting them in half and calling them a New York strip filet. They just add the word filet at the end, and they can market that differently.
It's like Taco Bell. They just make the same thing.
I would
they
love
just
for you
call
to
it something else.
never compare my New York strip to a Taco Bell. That hurt me to my core.
Lip moss.
You know what I mean? It's like it's just tortilla, but yeah, it's
Meat, cheese, and tortilla.
Meat, cheese, and tortilla. That's all that's going on over there. But yeah,
You wrap it a different way and fry it. They'll
I think
rename
New
it.
York strip's my second pick for sure.
What's your steak of choice?
Budget is not a concern.
Correct.
A ribeye. My sleeper steak,
Ooh.
if you will, is the hanger steak.
Uh-huh.
It's a butcher's cut, so there's like one per carcass. It's either one per carcass or one per half. You should probably ask somebody that works for the Beef Council. They should know. But that's my favorite probably.
Why?
It's got
Why
the
is that one?
taste of like a ribeye, but it's even more tender than a ribeye.
There you go.
Very, very good. If you can find them.
So something great happened in my house is it's bad, but it's great. Is my wife, they're like, need you to increase your iron intake.
Darn.
And she's like, well, how just want to do that? And she's more red meat. And I go, all right.
If you insist, honey.
Iron's part of Beef's Big Ten.
I guess we'll step up and eat a little bit more red meat. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so as we said, it is Beef Month, and we have Bradon Burks here from Kentucky Cattlemen's Kentucky Beef Council. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Perfect. Well, I grew up on a Hereford and Angus operation in southern Kentucky in Glasgow, Barron County. My first words were actually moo cow, and so the cattle industry has always been something for me that was always important. Really got my start in the industry, just riding around on the farm with Papa and looking at the cows. Started showing goats at a young age. They were a lot less slobbery than cattle were, so that's why we started with goats, because I was a little smaller back then. But grew up showing livestock, mainly the cattle world, but really started with goats. Was successful with that in my family, and then I ended with show pigs. I did play in the pig game a little bit, but got involved in 4-H and FFA. Served as a state FFA officer way back when, and those are sort of where my roots happened and occurred. From there, I kind of knew that I wanted to just talk to people about ag and cows and whatever that looked like. So I went to Western Kentucky, got a degree in agricultural education and with a minor in sales, and now I serve as the director of education for the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association and the Beef Council. So, and that role's pretty broad too. I can explain that now or however, but. The Kentucky Cattlemen's Association is the membership organization. So we have around 11,000 members in our state. I also serve as our junior cattleman advisor. We have around 1,200 juniors in our junior association, and I think that makes us second behind Texas. So I'm really proud of our junior association and all the programs that the junior board puts on. But the Beef Council, if you will, so that is utilizing those checkoff funds. So anytime a cow is sold in Kentucky, $2 goes to the checkoff program, which we use to increase beef demand. So if you have an Eat Beef license plate or have ever heard the term beef, it's what's for dinner, or I know Sam Elliott's mustache commercials way back when were a big popular hit. That's used to increase beef demand. So I work on that side as well to make sure that teachers are able to talk about beef in their classrooms, and the beef messaging is being shared for our beef producers.
So yeah, on a month like May, you probably just have nothing to do.
No.
Just been sitting there twiddling your
my
thumbs.
Exactly. No, I finally had an office day this week, and I'm not an office guy. I want to be out and about, but I was like, thank goodness. I had lots of emails and lots of things to work through. Yeah,
we appreciate you coming. I think people sometimes don't know about these months, and Farm Bureau's trying, you're all trying, everybody's trying to get it out there. How important has it been? Do you see the impact of this month and the celebrations around it? Is there? Do you literally see an increase in sales? Well, how's this work?
Well, you all know too. I mean, to me, Beef Month is mainly a celebration for our producers. Right. Our producers, they don't necessarily celebrate themselves as much as they probably should, and so I think it's a good chance for us in the ag community to, celebrate on their behalf. Earlier this month I was at Hinton Mills with Adam Hinton, and they did a big Beef Month day and a celebrity cook-off, and they brought in lots of people. So, I mean, it's events like that. Was in Trigg County last week, and did some radio spotlights and did some brisket burn-ins for our good friend David Firquin. And so we're doing lots of things, and I think it's for me, it's all about making sure that our producers know they're valued and they're cared for in Kentucky. And anytime we can talk with any of those consumers and let them know, the truth about the industry, and that, all beef's good beef, and no matter, what type of beef you like best, as long as you're choosing beef, we're doing good things in our community.
I will say, he said burnt ends. That might go on the list too, favorite.
They're pretty dang tasty.
No, that's something
else.
Well,
these were poor man burn-ins.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's probably still good.
So I used a chuck roast instead of brisket.
Sure.
But it was very good.
Sure. It
was good.
Bring it on.
So less of a adult question, more of a funny question. You grew up in a very obviously beef household.
Correct.
How much more do you know about how to cook beef now that you've been in this role than you did before? Like, I mean, I'm sure you have had wonderful cooks in your life, but you sit through like a couple of checkoff meetings. I've done it with, whether it's with pork, whether it's with beef, whoever it may be, one cooking demonstration. And I'm like, my gosh, how much I thought I knew. I took meat science and I still don't know all these things.
And honestly, I give a lot of credit to my grandmother. So when I was little, my grandma had us in the kitchen early on. And, you know, I think just that exposure helped me get comfortable in the kitchen. And, you know, I enjoy cooking for people. You know, all my buddies, when they come over, I think they're always satisfied because I'm going to cook us something. Something's going to get on the smoker. Something's going to get thrown on the grill. But a lot of it I came in with, you know, or going to sleep at night, we're on YouTube looking up, you know, the next greatest smoker recipe or whatever. So no, a lot of it came from before this job even. And this job has had a lot more exposure to different things and different cooking methods and things like that too. You know, Dad and I got some Wagyu steaks for Christmas a couple years ago, and I had never used a sous vide machine, but I borrowed the one from the office, and I'll sous vide some steaks anytime. Those are very, very good. So,
okay, so going back to some of what you talked about and why it was so funny. I was like, can't believe we haven't had Bradon on yet. You cover so many different pieces. And so I think a lot of people in the last couple of years, and this is kudos to what you've done with the youth program and the junior cattlemen's, a lot of people say, oh, Bradon works with the juniors. And I think people forget that you do so much on the beef council side.
Right.
So explain, like you just said a couple of events you do, but when it comes to like, what do you get requests for? Is it funnel through the counties? Does it come from a news station? Like, how do you get the request, and how does kind of the beef council team manage or solicit opportunity to talk about beef to the public?
Well, it really depends. You know, we have several different people on our staff, anywhere from a dietitian that's working with, you know, people above my pay grade, doctors, and then all these other people with lots of letters behind their name. You know, our dietitian's working on their behalf. Kelly Baird's in our office. She's very consumer facing on the news, doing ads and things, and working you know, to make sure that we're sharing beef through the promotional avenues. And you know, we have Amelia in our office who's working on industry relations, working with, you know, Bluegrass Hospitality Group, doing farm tours with them. And then my education side, it is still pretty broad, you know, if that's working with family consumer science teachers, ag teachers. The science teacher realm has been a really big hit. I've worked a lot with the American Farm Bureau Federation over the past few years to increase the amount of professional development opportunities for science teachers. You know, if we can take science teachers from urban areas and teach them how to teach agriculture through the realm of science, and they're teaching that to all their kids. You know, not every kid takes an ag class, but every kid takes a science class. So working on with those people, but it really depends, Renee, on what group it is, what project it is. You know, we get hit up quite a bit for lots of different things. So that is one of the fun parts about this job, is it's very flexible. You know, no day's the same. There was one day I was talking to 30 high school ag students, and the next day I had 50 kindergartners from downtown Louisville. And you have to be able to talk to both groups, and those are two different messages.
Your verbiage slightly.
Oh yeah, yeah. We didn't talk about castration nearly as much with the kindergartners like we did with the high school animal science students.
Pretty good call there, I would say, for sure. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like we sometimes do that. We talk too much jargon, or you say, you know, anytime. That's why I think the beauty of this podcast is sometimes I have no idea what Renee and the guest is talking about. So I'll ask a question growing up in the city. So I think that's the big thing, is how do you teach, what is the steps of kind of working with all the different varieties of folks from urban areas and not?
Well, one of the avenues that we host that in is I also run the Yards Classroom, which is housed at Bluegrass Lexington's location. No, I don't work for Bluegrass, but we pay rent to that classroom space. And the questions I get there are great. You know, we have, like, that's where I had those two different groups I talked about. And you know, people just really want to know where their food comes from in the grand scheme of things. I really think it's that simple. And you know, we get lots of different questions there of, what happens at a stockyards, or what are they doing? Why is that guy talking really, really fast?
I get that question all the time.
Yeah. I understand.
The craziest question I ever got was, "Is this where cows get their zippers?" Now, I didn't know cows ever had zippers. I don't know about you, Matt, but
no, I don't think that's
she was thinking we unzipped the cows, took their beef out, they zipped them back up, and then another farmer bought that animal to go to a different farm to happen again.
I'd like to make it clear, if that was a thing,
we would do that.
that would be handy.
Yeah, this herd inventory thing wouldn't be nearly an issue now, would it?
To see that zipper, but wow.
Yeah. And that was, a grown adult that had that question. It wasn't even a kid, so.
Yeah, that's one thing. You work in, I think, the early days of the Agland booth and different booths in the state fair.
Good old Agland.
Yeah, the questions are interesting. I think we throw around the what chocolate milk comes from brown cows kind of thing a lot, but there are questions like you just said. There are things where people. I remember a lady didn't even know, like we have like a fake pig, and she didn't know that pork and pig was
different.
The same thing. Yeah, she thought it was a whole separate thing. It was a grown person. So, so it can never not be enough, right?
Correct.
It can never not be enough. That's what we do, a lot of communications. I know Renee's division does a lot of communications. Sure, to write to producers, but it's to everybody, and it's great work, and it's amazing how much people really just don't know. They're just so disconnected, and I've always said it's the success of the industry that people are so kind of naive to all of it. It's our own doing in a way, in a positive, actually in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, us people in the ag industry, we're really good about talking to the ag industry.
Yeah.
I don't know how great we always are at talking to the ag industry, to the general consumer.
Yeah.
And they really want to know that. And I think that's the thing a lot of people get wrong is they, I think a lot of people think, oh, the general consumer's out to get us. They're out to get our way of life. I don't necessarily agree with that all the time. I think it's a lot of, they just want to understand. They don't understand the going out and sitting on the truck bed looking at cows grazing on grass. They don't get that opportunity. They don't get that experience. But I just think they want to understand
when they search, they get the other side because we don't do enough. More the merrier. We interact with a lot of other state farm bureaus, and it's a little surprising how many don't have a video team. Yeah. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. Like, are you crazy? Like we need more and more and more. And some folks look at what we do and they go, oh, we can't do that. And I'm like, well, don't. Just do what you can. Yeah. It's better than nothing. And so encouraging that from other organizations. And so, because they're going to find it. There's organizations that would gladly make that content and tell you where all this comes from and all the negatives of that. So,
well, and I think our Kentucky entities, until you go out and you go view other states, if that's Farm Bureau, if that's the Cattlemen's associations, we really have it well in Kentucky. Yeah. And I don't think many people truly understand that and see that until you go out and you go look at a different state and come back. I think a lot of people be very, very impressed and be glad and lucky that they're in Kentucky and have all the people in working for them like we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of those working for us, working with us, all the things, I really do want to talk about the junior cattlemen's, and I want to go a little bit of a different route. I know a lot of people say, oh, you take them out west, or you have this these cool events and the junior classic and all these different things, the fall classic, excuse me. What I would love to focus on, and I know you're incredibly passionate about it, and that's why I definitely want to give you a chance to talk. I grew up showing livestock as well, but I showed hogs. I never showed cattle, so we used to laugh and say my show pigs didn't make money, and the real cattle we had, regular, real commercial cat, those made money, and that was ingrained in my brain. And so there's this thought sometimes that if you're a show kid, you don't understand the real industry, and I don't think that's fair. But I think an industry kid sometimes feels left out of some of these things because they didn't meet all the who's who of the industry at the shows. Yep. The Junior Cattlemen's has made a tremendous push in the last few years, and a lot of that under your leadership and some really good junior boards you've had of how do we make sure the commercial kid, the production ag kid, whether they're in college or not, how do we make sure they feel involved in this association? Because quite frankly, a lot of times they're the farmer after. So talk through maybe that thought process, how it's grown, some of the cool events that really do hone in on some of those kids maybe more than others, and how those are, What I like is how they intertwine now.
Yeah.
What felt like two different lanes, you've really kind of found a way to merge. And I want you to give you a chance to talk about it.
Sure. Well, I grew up in part of the Junior Cattlemen's Association and was thankful for that. And, I showed at Fall Classic. That was my favorite show growing up, just all the contests that we have and all those things. But I'm also very thankful that my family raised me to understand, the financial side of things too. There were a couple times I had show heifers that I never even got to. My parents were divorced. I never got to go see because Dad had already sold her before I could get to her, And it was one of those things of, Bradon, it's financially first. And then it's, they have to make cows next. And so I was thankful for that upbringing. But on top of that, there's just so many kids in our state that I just felt like we were missing by just limiting it to one demographic. My perspective and I guess my philosophy for the Junior Cattlemen's Association and the junior board really is all on board with this as well. We want all ag kids, all cattle kids. I don't necessarily feel like my job is to make every kid that comes through our program the next greatest cattle producer. If I can give them those connections to do so, we're going to do that. But I want them to be good beef advocates. I want them to be able to exit our programs and say, I'm thankful for that. I know the truths of the industry, and I know how hard our farmers work, and they can share that with other people. But I have great coworkers that get to do lots of good programs together. Jake Harrod, Dan Miller, Becky Thompson. We all kind of put our heads together a few years ago and said, why aren't we doing a cattle working contest? We went to Virginia and saw how they did theirs and thought, why aren't we doing this? And so we started one, and we just finished up our I think it was our third or fourth year and had 24 teams. So that really has grown. Last summer, actually, I was sitting in the office with Jake and saw another state had one. I was like, why don't we email all these people and get on a Zoom call and just talk and see about maybe we'd start a national contest. Mm-hmm. And so a group of us did that, and we had our first ever national youth cattle working contest last year. Had 5 teams there, and now we're hosting this fall for the second national youth cattle working contest, and we're already up to 10 teams. I know of at least 3 other cattlemen's associations that are starting one this next fiscal year, so they'll be able to participate that next national deal. You'll be glad to know Renee, Louisiana is in this fall.
Represent.
So, mm-hmm. But no, I'm proud of that program, proud of how that has grown. We have so many good opportunities in this state, if that's 4-H, FFA. And so we started that points program to, recognize the show kids, but also recognize the kids going to every county meeting and serving meals or being on their skillathon team or whatever. And we want to give those kids credit for doing those things too. And so that points program encompasses all of those kids for that. We have this veterinary shortage, if you will, in rural communities. So we worked with Auburn University and the USDA to have a grant program to help pair up juniors and seniors in high school with 3rd and 4th year vet students. And then we pulled into the Kentucky Vet Medical Association and worked with them to continue those efforts. And I've got a meeting actually next week to see how we're going to continue that program now that grant funding's out. So, I am very proud of all the programs that we have, and those are more the association programs. That doesn't touch the Beef Council funded ones, youth leadership program. And the fun part about that for me is what would have high school Bradon just fanboyed over, So we went and did a behind the scenes tour of Malone's last year. We went and did all these other different industry tours and get to see lots of cool things and meet the big wigs, if you will, of the beef world. One of my philosophies, and the junior board repeats it all the time, is people join people. And, I think anytime we can help connect a young enthusiast with where they want to be in 5 to 10 years, why can't we do that? And give them those connections and those tools to be successful. If that's in the show world, if that's in the true production world, I just think let's call it the cattle world, the Kentucky cattle world. And how do we continue to push that box forward?
Yeah, I think opening your doors, sure, you might get a lot of kids that don't necessarily get into production later, but you might get a kid that wasn't going to be in production that decides to now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can, it could go the other way as well. So I think opening your doors, it creates that kind of opportunity for kids that maybe weren't thinking about all this, as a career now, So I think that's a cool aspect of that.
Well, we spend so much time talking about what you're going to do after college, so we want to educate kids when they're in 3rd and 4th grade to make sure that they know that milk comes from cows and pork comes from pigs and all these things. And then we leave it to 4-H and FFA to do that middle ground. But I think the more opportunities that we give kids to find their niche, if it's not 4-H in your county, if it's not FFA in your county, maybe it's junior cattlemen's, maybe it's all three. I just think the more chances we get to connect those kids with jobs that doesn't have to be a farmer, doesn't have to be Bradon Burks working at the Beef Council or Renee at Farm Bureau. I always say, like, the back rooms tour at Malone's. You said something about going to Sullivan's earlier day. I mean, there's just different places that we can do very important things. I've said it before, and it's probably been a minute, but the best advocate about agriculture in my immediate family is probably the least likely, and it's my younger sister who is in the nonprofit spectrum. And it's just because she gets to talk to people that don't talk to me. They're not in my realm. Like, it's exactly what you said. Ag talks to ag. So even if we educate these kids and they end up going to be a social worker, cool. Tell every human you talk to while you're there how good farmers are and how good beef is for you. I mean, I think that's just as impactful.
Yeah, my cousin Sheldon, grew up on our family farm with us. Went to the University of Louisville. So he also served as a state FFA officer. I mean, he's a computer engineer, software engineer, giant nerd. But the people that he communicates and talks with every day, they don't have a clue. And it's one of those things too. Sheldon's a great example of being able to talk about the industry with people that don't really have a true understanding of it. So
you're related to a really, really smart person named Sheldon?
I am.
Oh my gosh.
Think about that.
It's almost a TV show.
It's almost like a TV show then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm not Georgie though, so don't blame me there.
Well, I think it's just really neat what you guys do. I think the cattle working contest is one of my favorite. I do want to give you a chance. I'm going to steal Matt's dumb question. You ready?
Ask dumb questions. All
right. What is working cattle? Explain that too. We have listeners on here that are not farmers. Mm-hmm. What are you talking about when you say working cattle?
So when we say the terms working cattle, what we mean is, farmers want to keep health at top priority. And so if that's giving those animals any sort of vaccinations that they may need to make sure that they stay healthy, they're just out on grass a lot of times. And so there's ticks and all the things out there. So lots of flies. And so anything we can do to help ensure that cow's comfort and that cow's safety, we're going to do those things. So, and there's a proper way to work cattle, and there's a non-proper way. Where do we give injections? Where do we not give injections? And make sure we're utilizing BQCA, beef quality care and assurance. Make sure those principles are being used to make sure that our young people know how to properly, keep cattle's health at top of mind.
Yeah, I think it's neat how it's scored. My dad helped score it, and I think he has as much fun as the kids because the three guys that get to hang out, I think it's him and Dietrich and David Ferquin that are all hanging out, so they have just as big of a time just shooting the bull than anything else. But I think it's neat knowing that if you hoop and holler and smack an animal, you're going to lose points.
Yeah, and it's not the fastest either.
It's correct. It's not speed.
Efficient.
Yep.
It's 3 head of cattle. Anything under 10 minutes is full points. And then after that, you get docked, a few points every 30 seconds or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not who's the fastest. It's who's the most efficient, but mainly who's the most correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part about this thing is, we're the whole focus of we got, they're Adele Hood, for example. They background a bunch of cattle. And for them, it's, we've got to go quick. We've got a lot to get through. And their coach this past year, Ryan Miller, said, when they first came in, he said, forget everything you know about working cattle. This is not who's the fastest. We're going to learn the right way. And I'm very, very proud of that. And the way that, we are teaching and getting coaches, adults to learn even how do they need to work cattle. Then there's these coaches going to farms to practice, say, hey, can we come help vaccinate your cattle? And then we're pairing juniors up with producers in local communities too and making connections there. So, I just think all around it's a great program that just brings the whole cattle community together. We have we've had anywhere between kids that just show cattle to commercial kids that, that's all they know. That is their game. And I wanted to create an opportunity for them to have their Super Bowl.
Yeah, so is it Adair, Casey? Which county? The team went back and competed
Adair
against the
did.
farmers.
Yeah, they went back and competed against their Adult Cattlemen's Association board.
And they won,
I
right?
think the juniors beat the adults.
Nice. All right. Okay.
So I'm like, well, how fun is that? Bring them back and then get the adults to do the contest. And now the ones that probably thought they could have been a coach too, they probably learned something in all this. I just think it's neat. What an educator you are. Look at you, educating them all.
I don't know about all that. But we try to give opportunities, and I think for me, that is the big thing is, can we give another opportunity to a kid? Can we give another opportunity for someone that eats, sleeps, and breathes the cattle industry like I did growing up? And I think that's sort of my why and my drive within this job is, I want to make sure that all cattle kids have that opportunity, and hopefully they're more and more intensive and greater than the things that I was able to have. And I had a good experience.
Yeah, I think one thing, coming from a city boy, coming into this world, is learning that the industry, the beef industry in this state is much larger than I anticipated.
Yeah.
We have horses, we have, all the things I'm told are
Bourbon.
Yeah, the ag industry, right?
Yeah.
But
we're around 31,000 beef producers in Kentucky. But just recently, and I hate sharing this, Matt, we're now second in terms of the largest cattle producing state east of the Mississippi River. The Sunshine State just passed us. So
we're going to need to fix that.
Yeah.
You need to get out there.
Yeah, well, yeah. You go tell all these producers to not sell their heifers with the high prices they're having right now.
I will eat beef. I will do my part to try to get stimulated a little more.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that people just don't understand.
Right.
I didn't when I got here and learned that. I learned a lot when I first got here, just about the industry, the whole ag industry. So that was certainly one thing I think people don't really get that. You drive around the state a little bit, you start to kind of understand it.
We talked before the podcast about Bowling Green and Western Kentucky and all those things, and I live just outside of Lexington now, and you come into Lexington, you see the Lexington sign with the horse statues, and I got a chance through an ag leadership program I was a part of to talk to the Warren County's judge executive, and I thought, I've got to do this. And I went and told him, said, hey, love the new Bowling Green signs, but why did we put horse statues instead of cow statues in southern Kentucky? I said, that's cattle country.
Uh-huh.
So
at least put a few out there. Come on.
A few. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a display. If you drove through, that's like, wow. Ooh.
And there's cattle farms in the background of the sign.
Right there, yeah. Of course there is. Of course there is.
Okay, so we have talked lots and lots of cattlemen's, which of course I love. Talk through though, you've gotten to do a lot of cool things in the industry just in general. And so whether that's, and some of that does of course have to do with your cattleman's role, but some of that's kind of who you grew up with. You've got a lot of family very involved in the industry and that get to travel. Talk through maybe some of that and what you've really enjoyed over the years that you've gotten to keep a hold of. I mean, you just said you don't live on the home farm anymore.
Right.
Do you still get to participate in different things with the home farm? Do you have kind of goals one day of getting back to farming yourself again?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. My uncle is an auctioneer for a lot of the big cattle auctions, and my dad manages an embryo transfer operation for cattle. And so when they're both gone, sometimes somebody may need to come home and feed or check heats on the cows. And so I'll get to go home and play Farmer Bradon for the weekend. And I enjoy doing that. No, I have had a lot of good experiences I am very thankful for. I'm a recent graduate of the Kentucky Agricultural Leadership Program, the CALP class. Class 14, if you're a CALP alum, we were the best class. Just needed to throw that out there. But that was a great experience being a part of that cohort. Got to go and do an international trip to Vietnam and Taiwan.
Wow.
Spent 2 weeks over there and looking at the ag industry there. But just the general culture there as well was very, very, very different. Washington State as well. But I think the big thing for that program was just mingling with our classmates. We were so broad, anywhere between people owning nursery, greenhouse, landscape businesses to, people working on local food and being sure we're connecting people there. I mean, it's just, the ag community is just so good and being broad and mingling and getting lots of people together. That's another great, fun opportunity I've had. One of my passions is the show ring too. I'm competitive. I didn't play football, but the show ring was my Friday night light. So, we talked about that Super Bowl earlier. and getting to announce different livestock shows and things. I really enjoy that. And every now and then I get to go on the other side of the microphone and judge a few shows too. So that's always fun to get to be involved and interact and talk with the kids there too.
Yeah, I think Renee, you've brought that up more than in almost anything we've talked about, is that idea, like I have a travel ball son, and your travel ball was doing a lot of that. Now you played some sports, but that idea that's this world is that travel and the cost of it all, and the traveling around and the hotels and all the things that it's really no different.
That's where a lot of my best friends came from.
Right.
It was from the show ring.
Right.
They're the first ones to congratulate me, and they're my biggest competition as soon as we go in the show ring too. So it teaches you how to win, teaches you how to lose, but really teaches you how to work with people. And I think that's huge, no matter what you're going to go do in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right before I came down, we were going through intern prep. I was working with the insurance side, and we were talking through some different things. And it's so funny, the differences you hear, and not that one's good or bad, but the different types of things people have in their background, and that's ag or non-ag. No one had to talk to people. No one had to shake a hand. No one had to look somebody in the eye when you're speaking to them. It is interesting, the ones that have gotten to get out or had the opportunities, and the ones that we're getting to be that opportunity for them. And so, it's interesting. I love that analogy with travel ball, because I was blessed to get to do both. I did some travel ball, and I obviously showed, but both of those things, if done correctly, gave opportunity to learn how to be a little more grown, how to have your own conversation, how to ask why you're not playing, or ask why this person's not playing and you want them out there with you. Learning those kinds of things is really helpful. So, it's just one of those opportunities, I think, pretty regularly that we can bridge the regular member and the non-farming member together on this podcast, and remember, like, we're all kind of shooting for the same thing. We want rural Kentucky to be better, and quite frankly, rural America. I think you've got some junior cattlemen kids out in Oklahoma at school and working jobs and internships in other states, and we love here. And there's nothing I love more than being in another state and somebody saying, we had a girl from Kentucky out here this past summer, and she was pretty dang good. And I'm like, we raise them pretty good over there, don't we?
Yeah, we got some good ones.
We do. No, Whitney Peck's a great example. Whitney came through our program. She started the youth leadership program funded through the Beef Council as a green. I think she was like a high school sophomore. I mean, young, from Caldwell County, back in your side of the state. And kind of got bit in the whole, beef realm, the beef world. And I took her on our trip to Nebraska, and I took her through her first meat processing facility. And you would have thought I took a little kid into a candy store. I mean, her eyes just got big, and she's like, I love this. And then she went back home and started a junior cattlemen's chapter in her home county. Came to University of Kentucky, helped get a collegiate cattlemen's program, going there. And she's our junior president now. I talked to her this morning, and she leaves tomorrow for an internship at Pratt Feed Yards in Kansas. I mean, just what a great story and a great example of someone that came in, wants to be involved, and just needed the connections to get there. And I'm proud to say that I think we were helpful in doing that.
Excellent. That's what we were talking about earlier. Just, you never know. If you open your doors to more folks, you might change someone's trajectory completely like that, right?
Well, I had another example. I had a girl from Nelson County that was vegetarian, and took her on our Nebraska beef trip. I was like, oh boy, how's this going to go? Came back home and then bought some cows with her neighbor, and is involved in the beef community in that way now. So she ate some beef on the trip even too. I'm proud to say that. So
there you go.
But that's just a different example of a different demographic kid, young person, and then how their trajectory changed too.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to give you two different things I'd like you to kind of plug, and so it's kind of both hats, so the education hat and then the Beef Council side a little more. If I have a kid, or I myself just think this is interesting for youth in my community, and I'm like, man, I got to learn more about the Junior Cattlemen's Association and the activities you guys do, whether I want to start a chapter or start getting involved in some of your events, where do I go to find that information?
Well, kycattle.org is where all of our youth programs are held. It's got anything between our upcoming herd hangout, which is for 8 to 14-year-olds, ran by our junior board of directors. I haven't talked much about them, but we have 20 individuals that manage and run and take the trajectory of our junior program forward. And they plan basically a field day type of event. It's not just we're going to sit around and play tag and play games. It is educational, and they're teaching these kids something. But the herd hangout, other events like that are all on kykattle.org. Several counties have some junior chapters, junior kids getting together. Go call your local Cattlemen's Association, or go on our website, kykattle.org, and then we can help point you in the right direction of who that person may be. If you don't have a junior Cattlemen's chapter and you're interested in starting one, shoot me an email. Hit our contact us button on that website. I'd be glad to talk with you. I've got different documents and things that help give some ideas of how to start a chapter, or what are some good events that you could do in your communities. There's several junior cattlemen associations that are going right now that have some good events they're doing farm tours within their counties. They're doing fundraiser events and being just involved in the community. If that's Christmas parade floats or whatever, they're there and they're involved and they're making themselves known.
Yeah, and I will also say, if you think it feels intimidating for some reason, even though the gal that answers the phone is very, very kind, but if you're like, man, it's calling a state office way up there in Lexington just to find out my little old county, I will also encourage you, your county agriculture extension agent, I will guarantee has the cell phone number of your county president for your cattlemen's, because a lot of times, whether it's the cooking, whether it's the meetings, or it's education, they're going to know who that is too. So I'd encourage you either way to talk to either of those. Now, the other plug I want is it's my favorite week in July when I have to drive to Louisville, and that is Burger Week. And so talk to us, how many Burger Weeks do we have across the state anymore? And I know some of them have already happened, but this is an ever-growing thing, and I don't know if I will ever be Daniel Hayden level of loving Burger Week. I think I have sadly watched that man eat many burgers on his live on his Facebook.
Y'all already know where I'm at.
But
if you know, you know. Shout out to you, Daniel. Y'all know where I'm at.
But there are some in so many areas anymore. I think I sent one. Woodford had one during session. And I sent Kyle and Anne-Marie a quick text of like, hey, if you need a little pick-me-up on a tough session day, boy, do I know where you can get a burger. And talk through it for us.
I really wish I knew how many Burger Weeks there are, but I really don't. They have grown so much. Lexington and Louisville's are the two main ones, and that is a week-long celebration ran by the cities, and we get to be a partner with some of those cities and promoting their Burger Weeks. And there's a special on burgers at lots of different restaurants, and then I know several of them have a passport, they have a map, they have a contest of who has the best burger, and go try all the different burgers that week. And it's one of my favorite weeks of the year too. It's definitely not a good one on the diet, because most of all those burgers come with fries, and you can't sub fries for something else. So.
No, it's not right. I mean, to give it a fair shake to the one I had yesterday, I should probably try it with the exact same palate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Just drink a Diet Coke with it, and you'll be fine.
Oh, there's the diet part. Hey, Casey, she needs red meat. So
Burger Week.
Oh my gosh, Burger Week. You don't have to cook it all.
But I will say, my son, we went out and got a burger, mashed taters, so not fries, and a corn on the cob. Okay, that right there is the
quintessential.
I was gonna say the holy trinity, the holy grail, the holy trinity of meal for him. He loves that. So Burger Week is always.
Yeah.
It can be every week. He's fine with that.
So if you're like, man, you guys got this podcast out too late, Beef Month's almost over. I missed all these fun events.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Yeah, they're just thinking things up at this point. Give me a reason to eat a hamburger or steak.
Or you can be like me and Matt and Braden and just do it anyway.
Just do it anyway.
Right.
That's right.
Well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate your work. I think, anything you could do to keep the next generation going in particular and all that's really important. And just getting word out, the word out. And that's what we try to do in the communication team over here. And more the merrier, like I said earlier. Yeah. So we appreciate your work.
Well, thankful for the opportunity to be here and what you all get to do too. I think, and like I mentioned earlier, I think that's what is so great about Kentucky and our industries is how connected we all are. Mm-hmm. Not all states are like that. No. So I think we should all be very proud of where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you, Bradon, and thank you, listeners. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and listen to some of those older episodes. And we'll see you next time on Let's Get Rural.